Hey, welcome to episode 31.
Wow, 31.
September 20th?
September 20th.
September 20th, 2020. 9/20/20. And coronavirus still with us. I don't know if I see like a few kids in the schoolyards, but it's kind of weird because I don't have school-age kids anymore. But driving by, I still don't get a sense of what's going on, like.
Yeah, I guess if you really, I listen to the radio a lot, usually in the morning and stuff like that. So, like, if you hear the news and stuff like that, it depends how much you want to inundate yourself with local news and stuff like that. With a lot, I guess there's issues with right now, presently, long lines testing and stuff like that. It takes 4 or 5 hours. Actually, JP, I was supposed to get together with JP last Monday because we haven't been together since the fever and stuff like that. JP used to play bass in the band I used to play in high school, and Johnny Vegas. But JP had to cancel because JP's got a bad cold and JP thinks he might have COVID. So JP went to see if he could get tested one day, and he was unable to get tested, although he lives 10 minutes away from Brewer Park, which is where the big test site is. So people are lining up all day. It takes 8 hours if you get to the end of the line and stuff like that.
Well, has he been gigging? Because he used to do a lot of old folks' homes, and that's probably ground zero for...
Right. Well, I haven't talked to him since the thing, but I would imagine no, because all the old folks' homes have completely been sealed off. So
someone like JP Johnny... his whole income is predicated on getting out there and doing gigs and all. Must be tough for him these days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I haven't talked to him. So anyway, we were supposed to get together, but that's why we didn't get together. So I'm just saying, I brought this only just to show you. My car, actually, the sound system in my car is probably worth more than my car myself. But I pride myself in the sound system of my car, and it makes me so happy every time I'm in my car.
You can hear Byron drive up.
Well, I love, when I got my car, I actually pimped it out with a new stereo system, and I put a subwoofer in it. And I wanted to, it's a great place to listen to music because it's, I have a small car, it's a Mazda 2, it's a nice Mazda 2 that used to be driven by an old lady. But it's a very enclosed place, and you can really pump up the volume. And I've always been interested in new music and stuff like that. So very early on, I got interested in, specifically this company called Ministry of Sound, which is a company from Britain, and they put compilations together. And so these compilations I enjoy because I specifically put, this is a 3 CD compilation from Ministry of Sound, which I just got. It's called The Mix, Non-Stop Party Hits.
There you are, for the home viewers.
Yeah, so they put a whole selection of music that I would never otherwise hear and play. So I have a specific way I like to listen to it. I don't like to know who's on here. I don't know really who's on here.
Is it predominantly just like sonic adventure?
It's a combination, right? And that's the whole point of my sound system with the subwoofer. There's a lot of silence followed by earth-shaking things that make your whole stomach turn, but it's sort of cool. It's very theatrical audio sounding, right? So I purposely play this and not be influenced by who's on here at all and stuff like that. So usually when I first listen to it, it takes me about three times to go over it. I usually take a week per CD listening to it in my car, and I'm in my car every day, so I go through it. And it takes me by about the third listen, things start kicking in. So I was just coming here today. So I have a nice little drive. It's a beautiful day out here in the fall.
Cold.
Cold.
Cold, very cold. I don't like this fall. It seems to have dropped right off. So Byron loves the cold. I don't like the cold.
I love the colors of the fall, all the way into Christmas and all the crazy lights. So I have Mix 2 in, and I was just going through my third listen this morning. So I have a beautiful drive actually down to Queensway and stuff like that. So I must say I was just completely blown away by how much things were starting to click in my head about what they were playing. The first time I listened to this stuff, it
I
kind
mean the selection of songs or the songs themselves.
well, the songs start clicking in my head. They start making sense. I start being able to discern what I really like and things that I didn't pick up on a first listen. Like when you listen to the first time that you listen to the CD, it all sounds like a big melange. There are things that sort of sound interesting.
Yeah,
but
try not to miss stuff, but you're trying.
Yeah. So the second time, so you have to sort of learn the music, right? And then it's always about the third time, things really start kicking into me. And this drive I just had down here, things really started kicking in, and it was wonderful because there was such a theatrical drive in the audio, and the choruses were really sort of bass and subwoofer heavy, and it was the sound is stupendous. I think they have a template that they use, and once you get your EQs and stuff hooked up into the car. So I was just wondering, I was just only brought this in because I was going to mention the top 6 people, see if you know who they are.
Okay,
have you heard of Syron? The song Here.
How's the band spelled?
Syron.
No.
Chantel. Impossible.
Well, that's kind of deceiving because I could say, I think I've heard of that person, but no, not really.
Wretch 32 featuring Shaka.
That's 2 Ks in Shaka?
Yeah, and the song's called Blackout, Bill and Will Remix.
I'm blanking a bit, sorry. I knew a guy named Johnny Shaka. Johnny Shaka is a buddy of mine. Hey, Johnny.
Labyrinth featuring Tiny Tempa, song called Earthquake, which was just freaking awesome. Okay, Wiley featuring Chip in a song called Reload.
I'm sorry. It's not that I'm laughing.
The next song
I'm so out of touch.
Same with me. I've never heard any of this. So the next song was just wicked. It's
That's
from a band called Example, and the song is "Change the Way You Kiss Me." It was kind of a half rap, but it just had a great.
That sounds familiar.
So there's another song.
And I work with a lot of bands. I mean, I am,
Okay, well, there's a song
to a lot of stuff.
on this mix too that I haven't got up to that's going to sound really good on my way home. It's called a band called Rizzle Kicks, and the song is called "Mama Do the Hump." And the interesting thing is, it's got a real driving kick, but they use a bit of acoustic guitar in it. Just sort of it sounds a bit like Shifter, sort of the acoustic guitar, the sort of, and it's got a great little drive to it. And I think they even threw in a little bit of banjo. But it's kind of a guy rapping, and then the girl comes in on the chorus and says, "Mama, come do the hump." Sort of an old, no, it's kind of like an old, okay, forget I said it. Mama, come.
You know what's funny is you can always imagine, well, you can't. You listen to that and I laugh, but
Mama can't do that.
When you listen to stuff, it either clicks with you or it doesn't. Now, when your enjoyment of it now, since you've reached the new plateau, has it risen on the songs, or did you like them as much when you first heard them? I mean, I'm just kind of finding out how people listen to music. Hey, John Cook.
I know myself that I have to give myself time to learn the song. So I'm on my third mix.
You listen to every song. You just go, I'm gonna pump every song through.
I just let it go do its thing, and I learn it as the week goes on. And it usually I get 3 or 4 spins through the whole thing because there's 20 songs on each CD.
How do you think it influences you when you go back to your own songs, or does it?
It was just a wicked drive-in. It was beautiful out, and the songs were clicking, and it sounded like $1,000,000 in my car, and I just loved the way it was going. It sounded brand new. It was just fun where all the stuff was going. I love to kind of sing with it and sort of pick up where they're going, and all that sort of musical enjoyment. It can't get any more funner, eh? So you're driving on the Queen's
funner.
Yeah, it's the funnest. It is.
Funner.
No, but it was.
It's funny too, when you first hear a song and you really like it, and it's one of your first experiences with it, you like it enough that, I'm not usually a sing-along guy, but you want to sing along, but you'd have no idea what the words are. So you're kind of frustrated that you can't join in on the fun.
Yeah. You're making it up as you go along. And I start making up words, but the thing is I'm driving and I get this thing with my hands and I don't know where that comes from. I'm just like going like this, like that, and can't get enough of it. So I was listening to, I brought my mom yesterday, my wonderful 90-year-old mom. I take her grocery shopping Saturday morning. Before we went grocery shopping, I asked my mom, I had to get some gas for my car. So while I got some gas, I also got my car wash. It was one of those that you drive through. So I took my mom with me, and we're going through the car wash, and I turned up this CD, and it was actually the song Mama Do the Hump. And my mom was, 90-year-old mom, was in the passenger seat in the car wash. We were sort of bopping along to that song. You think she's just being nice to you? No, she got into the song too. She was laughing crazy. Songs, she was having a good time too. It's incredible how happy music can make people feel. I guess that's just
who knew?
Point. Who knew? But I mean, that's why we do it, eh? That's why we get so involved. It's so... Yeah, it just never loses its fun appeal. You never get tired of it.
Funny saying that, because I too, when my mom was alive, God rest her soul, I would bring her down music, and she was kind of the other way. Like, she was exposed to a lot of them. My dad playing in swing bands in the 30s and 40s, my brother playing in his hippie band in the 60s, so she was exposed to a lot of music, and she did like some, but usually it was kind of like the Don Messers, before Hockey Night in Canada. So anytime I play new stuff or my own band stuff, she was not a big fan usually.
Was she into, so we were limited to the TV channels, so what, as far as CBC was concerned, was she into the half-hour hymn program?
No, she was not a hymn person. She liked Lawrence Welk.
Okay, Lawrence Welk. How about...
Bobby and the Chrissy.
Who's the country guy that sang in CBC? Tommy...
Hunter.
Tommy
Hunter?
She
liked Tommy Hunter.
She liked Tommy Hunter?
She was a farmer, and so they liked Tommy Hunter, Don Messers, Jubilee.
Okay, the Irish Rovers. Did she like the Irish Rovers?
Yes, she liked them because I don't think she cared for that music so much, but she liked them. They were funny fellas. And, it was just that... And I still get that weird, nostalgic, sentimental feeling when I see clips of Don Messer or the Irish Rovers or whoever it is, because it reminds me of Saturday nights. You get ready for dinner.
Before hockey,
you'd watch the same shows, and everybody'd sit around, and it's the black and white, and you're going, oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. I can watch old things like that. And old things like Front Page Challenge and stuff like that, just the old icon.
Speaking of
people,
last couple of days, and I watched it before, but I'm getting a renewed appreciation for James Burke's Connections. You ever see that show?
The name's very familiar.
James Burke. He was an English professor. I think he was some type of scientist or archaeologist or whatever. But he had a show that was called Connections, and what he did was he would sort of demonstrate something that humans got going, and then how it bounced into this, into that, the Plinko ball of invention in life, and just the way progress happens. It is fascinating. The guy can draw lines to anything, explains why this happened, why that happened, and this is why it happens now. And amazing. So the last couple of days I've been just indulging myself in James Burke.
How did you get into that rabbit hole?
I'm on YouTube a lot. I just scroll around and see what's going. So, over the time as my preferences have come up, I like science and physics and stuff, and it just came up, and I went, "Oh yeah, Connections," and I clicked on it. And
what was the context? What was your previous connection that got you to that one?
It was Chunky MILFs was my first.
Right,
search.
That's what I figured. Much. I was sleeping.
I came to 70s neighbor porn, and then it came to Connections.
Okay, and then James Burke.
I don't know. It just comes up, recommended for you.
Was that the previous one for James Burke, Chunky MILFs?
I got Chunky MILFs from In Living Color sketch. It was hilarious. Anyways, we digress.
Okay, so
we are...
Well, before we do the Coy Paradixio, I figured there's one more thing, and then we could take a little break, because we've already just... I think we talked too much anyways, as far as I'm concerned.
Never talk too much. If we didn't talk, it'd be kind of boring.
Never talk too much. So musically last week, you were, what were you doing? Because we didn't do anything last week.
Right. Well, because I'm in the gig economy, I take gigs, and I had a gig with one of my serial employers, a big festival in town. They partnered with another very high-end place in town that's on our canal, and it was dinner and a band on a boat. And we brought our cameras to shoot the band on the boat and project it to a big screen. Mm-hmm. Well, you look across the canal, so you're looking about 120 feet. An 11 by 7 screen, which is decent size, looks like a little TV.
Right.
So, it wasn't the perfect scenario, but what happened is because it's a union shop there, where I was situated, it caused a grievance from the union. So,
way to go.
But not only that, the organizer didn't like the size of the screen. I agree, it didn't look proper. I didn't need a bigger screen or whatever. But that all coming into conflagration ended up with me not getting my gig last week. That kind of sucked.
So they're going to put you
and
in
then
jail,
this week, also a couple of days ago, I drove over a yield sign and caused crappy damage to my car. So it's a crappy week, but happens. Yeah.
The only thing I was going to mention is sort of in my sort of little constellation. The song I'm working on now, and it feels like I'm slaying the dragon, is a song I've been working on, or has been sort of in the sort of ennui of my stuff since it's a song called Squish. Gone through several itinerations, and I've never been able to finish it off. Yeah, and the thing about it is, it's got a lot of
I was just listening to it yesterday.
Wicked guitar stuff on it that is
super compressed.
There was an idea behind it at the time, but
is that Brian Smith?
It's John. And there's a lot of, he did it through a Marshall, I remember. So it was a lot of him. It was like when you play, I didn't give him much guidance. I took that stuff. I had to sort of go through it all and just sort of make it what it was. However, it ended up working out really nice, I thought at the time. But I still didn't really get it together as far as, I think I made a mistake and I committed too much to some chord changes that if I could go back and... There's something about me changing stuff over musically right now about that song, and I've tried a couple of times. So this time, I'd finished off the song Rhubarb Skunky, and I said the next song on this hard drive that I've been working on this year was Squish, and I said I'm going to finish this song off. The thing about Squish is I love the name of it. I love sort of what the animatronics could be for Squish, right? So you could just squish so many things, and it just seems so such a lovely because the song was all about giving somebody a hug. Just hold me like you'll never ever let me go, and it was just a very sort of simple song about giving somebody a hug. And Susie had even sung it. There was John on it and stuff like that. So I had vowed that I was just going to sort of work my way through it and get myself happy enough. So I've been doing a lot of artwork for it, or just doing the lyrics for it. So it's a very sort of poppy color, banana split looking thing from the late 60s, very psychedelic looking. I've been very excited about that. Just putting the word squish on the screen and watching it squish up and stuff like that is...
It must be tough for you, because now when you reimagine your songs or do whatever, instead of I don't mean just as in a derogatory way, but I mean instead of just working on the music now, because now you love doing so much visuals, your workload just opens up, because with video it just makes so much more of a workload, to prepare stuff, especially since you're so experienced in music. You can probably get things, what you want to have done pretty quickly, but the video now is the one that probably slows you down a little.
Actually, I'm getting really good at my sort of workflow and stuff like that. I haven't done a lot of animation for this. I've just been doing a couple of things on it. But actually, doing a video for this is helping me finish this song off, because I know visually I can get away with a simpler song and just sort of put those visuals in. And I think when I didn't have the visuals and it was just a song itself, I was trying to get too pop song specific on this. And I think I can get away with 2 minutes of just a poppy looking thing on screen with Susie and I going squish, and hold me and all those things. And so I hope to have Squish done in the next few weeks and stuff like that. But I think I'm slaying the dragon, so that's it's a lot easier these days, slaying the dragon music and all that stuff.
I'm always showing you my subscriptions and things, like what I've been finding in this one a lot, in our video blocks, all these liquid transitions for Premiere. You just drag them in and you put them over top, and it's already done for you.
Oh, that makes me jealous.
Yeah, I think, again, it's not the video, it's the transitions, right? The cartoonish. They have tons of them. I was just looking yesterday going, oh my God, these are all, you have your subscription, they're free.
Do you use any of them? Or?
I downloaded a bunch yesterday. I keep telling people, when you're doing video for clients, 80% of your work is selecting the proper clips, telling the proper story, and either dissolving or cutting.
Yeah.
Making it clean. All this other stuff are those little embellishments.
Yeah, just a little pop
people
at the
go,
end.
oh, that's neat, that's custom,
Yeah, because too much,
But the thing is now, custom work, I don't care who you are, would you spend a week developing some of these really crazy moving motion graphics, or would you just buy a license-free template, add your own colors, your own, make it yourself? I mean, this is the way people do stuff now. But you have to know how to use them, all the templates, and because every author of these templates, it's their own workflow. So sometimes you go and you get one. Luckily about this and a subscription, they're all free. So if I get one and their organization structure, the author of the piece is horrible, like they don't have any organization or anything, you just don't use it. Because you'll be figuring their layers out forever, and how did they do this? Because you have to recreate, go in and change all that stuff. But some people are very organized.
Yeah, I think if you're right into that stuff, but like most art, you want a sort of a balance of little borrow, little of your own, little make it your own.
Now you see some of these things, like FX Box. You can get just some of the color stuff. All those little transition color shapes, like when we did for... Sorry, you guys can't see it.
No, but certainly when I look at that, as far as animation and stuff like that, the more what it does for me is not want to use it, but it gives me ideas about things that you could sort of do with the tools that I have or don't have.
Title, that's pretty cool. And you just drop these images on the back.
Yeah, I would say as far as feeling good, it's kind of more awesome if you can create your own, sort of figuring out sort of the tool that you have and creating your own sort of, and you come up with sort of when it looks like that and you go, man, I did that with that idea. I just sort of made it my own stuff.
I feel bad because I always say to myself, I'm never going to just have us scrolling stuff that I can't show people at home. I have my switcher. Maybe I'll set that up for next week, because I was thinking after Coy Paradixio this week, that wraps up this album.
Yeah.
And that means we're on to absolute current stuff all the time. Although I'm going to bring up that interview. We've got some old stuff to always rehash now and then. But I broke my own rule of, because I'm not going to show it. Just imagine we were looking at templates for cartoon letters on the screen and all. And I thought he might like it, but that's what we were just talking about.
I do have artwork for my album from a year ago or whatever, called Wonderfully Stupid. I'll have to send it to you. Or something. Anyways, so we should take a quick break.
Yeah.
Excited to sit back on. So the final song of this album, I did the album Coy Paradixio, the title song. The title came from me looking into the history of my grandfather's World War I records. He fought for Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, and it was in the diary of.
I had to take it off the thing because it was all curved.
Yeah, and it was off the diary of his commanding officer, which are all online, and it was just a malaprop, the way it was spelled, and I just sort of liked the look of it, and I liked the fact that it was through my investigation about my grandfather's war records at the time. I wanted to find out where he was and all his fighting and stuff like that. I never knew his service and stuff like that. So, yeah. So the song itself, that's good. No, it's nice to know that there's something inside. It's nice to know it could have been fake. It could have been.
Coy Paradixio.
Coy Paradixio.
The album.
So I just like the title. I always like the. I just like the word, and I like sort of to make something of my own. And I must say, when I Google the phrase Coy Paradixio.
These little knobs, they all just get smashed.
When I Google the word Coy Paradixio, that's what comes up in the Google search. It's my sort of name alone, so there's something about having made up sort of a phrase or whatever.
Yeah, it's the double-edged sword. It's your own phrase, yet no one will bump into it unless they're directed to.
No, but it's important to make it your own, right? It's you can do whatever you want. That's the great joy. But
so, why did it become the name of the album? Is it just that was the word you liked best?
Yeah, I wanted to attach it to something, and it was this song specifically that we're about to play. This song specifically was the genesis of the song. Was I woke up one Sunday morning. It was a snowstorm, and it was one of those days. I said, "Well, I'm going to go and." Make a song up today. I'm not going anywhere. I can't go anywhere, and so what'll I do? So what I ended up, how am I going to start the song? Usually, when you have a blank page, like what instrument I'm going to play. I remember that morning, and I said, "Well, I'm going to go into one of my keyboards and maybe write a keyboard song." I remember thinking it'd be fun to. I have one of the great things about recording these days is that you can have tons of different sounds on a hard drive, and especially keyboards. There's guys in companies that sit around and specific keyboards over the years, and they sit and they press every key and they sample it, and then they collate it all, and then they sell it as there's all different types of synthesizers and stuff like that, and you manipulate it with a MIDI keyboard. I have a nice MIDI keyboard and stuff like that. So that day I have a couple of nice banks of mellotrons, and mellotrons is an instrument that was made famous by the Beatles, sort of those wobbly flute sounds and stuff like that. So a mellotron used a tape, right, and so you get the wobbly flute sound that you hear in Strawberry Fields, and it's got wobbly strings that you would hear in those sort of German Kraftwerk songs and stuff like that. It's a very ubiquitous old synthesizer that was probably the size of a car back then when you think about it. So they had different models and stuff like that. But so I just at random picked a style of mellotron. It turns out the mellotron, part of the mellotron's got sampled, it's almost like karaoke tracks on certain keys, certain models, and if you play them, the Beatles use it on Bungalow Bill. There's a little sort of mellotron track from if you listen back to it. I think it's around that song on the White Album. Anyways, it's got some little sampled music. Anyways, there was something in 3/4 that was sort of sitting there, and you can sort of play with the key just enough, but it's a very wobbly, crackly sound. But I thought it was cool enough.
So they include it in your collection, like the certain keys that have the pre-recorded little bits?
Well, that's the sort of thing. They want
so 5 or 6 second.
Yeah, they want to make it authentic, right? So so when they say this is the Mark III Mellotron from 1966. 67. They go through from key A1 to key.
So you wouldn't know it's there unless you actually hit a key.
So I was just sort of screwing around with it.
What the hell is this?
Just trying to find a sound. So it's Sunday morning and it's snowy out. I got my pajamas on. I got a coffee, and I'm just sort of waiting for something that just slightly sounds interesting to me at that point in time, right? So
this spark of creativity.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. So there's something very sort of 3/4 and crackly about it. So that's how that song just sort of started and stuff like that. And I started singing about circus stuff, and that's really all I had in mind up to that point. So the song sort of evolved over time. When we listen to the song, Steve Foley is the drummer in this song. So he's the owner of the
Audio Valley Recording.
Yeah, a super talented guy, super smart. He's the owner of He had a beautiful studio all sort of set up, a real musician. But I got him to play drums on this. So lyrically, the song is something specific, and I think it's sort of a narcissist's lament. I used to remember when my girlfriend at the time, Tracy, I think she had stopped working at Sound of One Hand Studios. I mean, I think she found it very uncomfortable at the time with all that was going on with John and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I remember when she went over to where the building that you were working at, to Distortion, she was working with Kirk and stuff like that. They were doing sessions and stuff like that. And I remember her coming home a few nights a week, and there's a certain schadenfreude that she had. They had sessions where everybody was sort of had connections with John. I guess they were just sort of shooting the shit about it, and like the whole night would just be turned into this big shit show about the narcissist lament, right? And she'd come home a lot more happy, I guess, what she experienced, other people had experienced in their own
Misery
ways and
loves
stuff
company.
like that. Yeah, so I thought of how sort of sad it was, because you get that with narcissists, and I've experienced that with my father, and you get with that with other people. So they are in essence these showmen. They want to bring you into their world, and the tagline of this song is "and nobody goes home happy," because at the end of the day, it never works out for anybody with these people. They always find a way. And expect too much and stuff. And you can get into all sorts of deep psychosis talk. But I just sort of thought of somebody putting on a circus, somebody that brings his audience in and then locks the door behind them and says, I'm going to give you the show of your life. And at the end of the day, nobody comes home happy. And I just thought it was a great little sort of tune.
Your whole universe of circus freaks, the carnival barker, nobody goes home happy. It all kind of swirls into this.
Right. So my previous album was The Alien, the Rabbit, and the Monkey, and so this was sort of that freak, the guy that put on that freak show and stuff like that. I thought it was just sort of a nice thing. I hadn't heard it for 15 or 20 years. I rejigged the video I had done 10 years ago or whatever. I loved the lyrics, and this would be a fabulous song to do live. I can just imagine with actually some circus animals out there, Steve's drums and stuff like that. But yeah, the song is about the thrill about wanting to put your hands around somebody's throat and kill them. So play it. It's
Happy Times.
Have you seen? You haven't seen this? This
if you re-edited it, I haven't seen it.
Okay, yeah. I just sort of kept what I had and just added a few things.
I've got it on the far computer. We can just watch it there on the big speakers. Here we go.
Make yourself comfortable. I've made some cookies. I've locked all the doors. Now I'm going to break your heart to love before it's begun. Nobody's going home happy. I know you'd love to kill me. Come on, put your hands around my throat, make you feel so, make you feel so good. I guess I need some dancing bells, some elephants on stilts, fire-eating, sword-swallowing, half man, half girl. I'm the one you'd love to hate. The maestro waits for his cue. The orchestra starts to revolt. Nobody's going home happy. I'm the one you wanna kill with pleasure, with pleasure. Make you feel so, make you feel so good.
That was awesome. I mean,
I
I've
enjoyed that.
heard the song before, and I really like it because it's such a theatrical piece. But the visuals were really enhanced. I loved it. Like the elephant on the
I
stilt was
loved it
great.
all. I loved it all. I loved it all.
Schlitzie talking was awesome.
That's our friend. That's
That
our
was
buddy.
awesome.
I would look so forward to playing that section for you.
I would take Schlitzie and have her singing the song. Like, that's just me. Because when you hit something that I like musically or visually, I just keep bringing it back.
Well, that's sort of my problem, sort of with the animation program that maybe I don't have enough experience with is the whole lip syncing thing. So I did several versions where I brought my original lyrics in with it, and played it through the animation that's supposed to manipulate the mouth movement and stuff like that. And it never sort of tripped out properly. Yeah, so like how much time do I want to spend with it and stuff like that? And
Or do you care that it matches up? It's more of a just...
Well, that's it. So when you're by yourself, right, all I can see is the moments when it doesn't match up. I had played you something previously about some girl in that song with Deanie doing... there was a song I did, and she's doing I'm Not Going to Hurt You, The Solution Is Ready.
Oh, yeah,
remember?
that's right,
And
yeah.
it just worked. Like, I remember it. I just timed it up once, and it just worked. It looked like she was saying what it was. But there's something about the way I sing
You can't get that again.
and I just can't get that. Or I don't know enough about my animation program to make
I
it
just
properly.
personally, at some points I would look at something like that and go, who cares? We know Schlitzie's not saying it, but the idea is that Schlitzie's singing. So.
Right, so maybe if I had
be?
somebody beside me that, right, like if you're working with somebody and somebody goes, look,
Artistically.
Yeah, sort of manages to get you off that track. You would put more of that up, but that's not how I saw it. And I usually these things, like I'm just sort of been trying to put a video out a week. I'm trying to get up to 100 on my little YouTube channel. So there's a certain time thing, and I just say, well, I can only deal with so much of it and stuff like that. But I was very happy to do it. I was just having a big laugh. I was doing more face puppet stuff, which let's see and stuff. Boy, if you get really good at that program, I'm sure there are other specific programs that I wonder how you do that with Adobe. I was just wondering how they.
Sorry, and what program are you using again for that?
I use Cartoon Animator.
And you purchased it, so you have the full.
Yeah, but I know that
Is it a one-time or a subscription?
It was a one-time. Yeah, no. So I just guess had something about. I want to own my stuff. But I wonder if you were doing it in Adobe, what was the program that you used?
Well, there's a few. There's Animate, where you take your basic PNGs or whatever and you can animate them slightly. I haven't even looked into that. My sweet spot is Premiere and audio editing and After Effects. But then there's another 6 programs or so that delve into character animation, motion, other specialty motion graphics, and web-based stuff.
So the software I'm using is by a company called Real Illusion, and so they do other softwares that's very sort of face-oriented. And I know that they've been one of the companies that have been involved in this sort of thing where people change faces and videos. You can manipulate or what people say.
Like deep fakes.
Yeah, all those things. And there are certain programs that these guys do that people are using for bad reasons.
Yeah, you could have JFK sing your next song.
And so this is the company that does it. So I think I have sort of the lightest version of that. But I don't know enough about it. I totally get what you're saying. I'd love to actually see doing the whole album for as far as I'm concerned and stuff like that. But I see what other people that actually spend more time. So these programs are sort of time intensive, sort of for you to learn how to. I've always said about Pro Tools. I've used Pro Tools maybe for 20 years now. I think I only use like 10% of 90% of what's available to me as far as what's given and stuff like that.
Exactly. This is. Part of the issue I always have is companies eternally, and I know they have to do it, but eternally tweaking and evolving and updating and sending out updates that aren't correct. And I too, like I was just telling Kristen today that all these fancy programs and all, I think you said it in the first half as well, that it's just a tool. You could use iMovie and probably create fantastic movies, because 80% of your work is selecting the proper cut, making sure the story is being told properly, and then dissolving or just cutting. I mean, special effects are great, but you can't just you can lather them over, because if you're doing short form, 2-3 minute songs or whatever, you want to try to maximize what you're seeing. But if you've got a long story, there's only going to be so many special effects unless you're doing like Sin City or something, which is all specialty.
I think visually, a lot of the things that really interest me too visually are sort of animated, sort of older style things that are too labor intensive that I just don't have enough time for. So I think about 2D animation, doing 24 frames of per 22 frames per second. So you've got to do 24. You have to draw 24. With all the movement and stuff like that. Or I'd love to do a paper where I've seen people do animation and they cut it, paper cartoons, and it's sort of like puppetry. It's like real time, but you're actually moving paper around and stuff like that. Like, it's very labor intensive. I see these great film studios like Leica. That do
they do lenses and stuff as well.
Yeah. So I love all that sort of old style animation stuff, but that's something that you can't really do on a brand new program.
Well, sometimes you can, because the algorithms are so good that you can emulate certain looks and styles. But I think if you're talking about real customization, but
Like, do you see the new cartoons? I'm not quite sure what they what programs they use, like the new cartoons. Like some of them I see are almost too perfect in their movement and stuff like that. I have some sense of the tools they're using and stuff like that, but as the sort of 2D stuff and sort of the shots and stuff like that, if you go to like Nickelodeon, you look at some of the more recent fare and stuff like that, they look beautiful as far as on the screen, like some of the colors and the way the colors are going, but sort of the movement. So it's almost, there's that stuff from the 60s, that sort of, that jitteriness.
Like when Fred Flintstone's running through his house and you see the same thing going in the background.
Right, but that's the interesting thing about creativity, the fact that they use their limitations to their advantage, right? Because then a lot of the stuff today is you can do almost everything, and they do everything, and it's so busy. But back then, it almost just becomes this sort of Gaussian blur of the same backgrounds, right? And you're really
And
sort
SpongeBob. SpongeBob was so good for that, just pastel-y, fluorescent-y, weird kingdom under the sea. You know, you create an environment, and if it works visually, that's it.
Yeah, and it's questionable whether SpongeBob is watched by more adults than
yeah,
kids.
well,
and I think for different reasons.
It's funny
All
because
good,
every once in a while I'll flick by Adult Swim, and what was the one that had the order of fries and the drink were people, and what was it called? It was so ridiculous. It was great. There's so many of them that are like that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
But I think it's also the writing in those, because you're not used to hearing cartoon characters.
I love, it's an old show from Disney Plus, Wander Over Yonder. It's a great psychedelic animation fest. The guy, he's got a Russian name. I think he did the Powerpuff Girls, Genie, and he's done all the Hotel Transylvania stuff too and stuff like that. It's super. But anyways, that sort of style and stuff like that. Like, who's the other? I can't think. This is boring.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Anyways, cartoons are good.
Blah blah.
And,
we're wasting people.
Yeah, we're just talking about, how you're going to develop your videos in the future and what kind of stuff you're looking for. You know what? That finishes Coy Paradixio.
Yay.
Which means all of the past history was kind of covered up till now. So if you've been watching along the 35 hours or whatever it is, you kind of know where we're at right now. So I think going forward, I'm going to try to change the format a little bit, where Byron's got a new album, but I mean, is it an album or is it just a collection of songs that he's now working on visually? We're not really sure. I don't think he knows what you do now, but all we know is that he's going to keep putting stuff out, and we're going to keep talking about creativity and where ideas come from. And,
Yeah, let's do it.
where you go in the future. So with that, we are up to date with all of our stuff. Ba-boom! And we'll join you next week for the next episode 32.
That'll be good.